The nation of France has officially banned woke, gender-neutral language in their schools, all as support for the nationalist-populist presidential candidate Marine Le Pen SURGES. In this video, we're going to take a look at what's behind the government ban on what's called gender-inclusive writing in all French schools, how this move is but the latest in French President Macron's recent pivot to the political right, and why it's all too little too late for Macron as new polling shows a surge in support for Marine Le Pen. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, we are your daily antidote to fake news as we each and every day analyze current events in light of larger conservative trends to help you stay sane in these crazy and turbulent times. So if you haven't already done so, you know what to do. Make sure to just smack that bell and subscribe. Before we begin, I am so excited to invite you to our brand new Patriot Entrepreneur Live event that we're holding on June 4th and 5th. It's a virtual conference. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your own sofa, and you can secure your seats simply by clicking on the link below. If you're looking to be a Patriot entrepreneur who's currently frustrated and feeling trapped in your woke job, passionate about your work, but disheartened about your woke environment, or perhaps you're a current business owner who wants to take your impact to the next level, then you're going to absolutely love our upcoming Patriot Entrepreneur Live. I've invited top conservative entrepreneurs to join me and share their wisdom with you as together we build a world of freedom without sacrificing our callings and talents. I hope to help you live out your calling free from cancel culture, free from woke corporations, and free from the grasp of leftist ideologues, and give you all the tools you need to be living a life of complete freedom. Now, if you click on that link below right now, today, you can take advantage of our early bird special and register at a super low price. But that special offer is going to expire this weekend, so do not miss it. Click on that link below right now, and I'll see you for a weekend that promises to be a game changer like never before. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. The nation of France is continuing to crack down on far-left attempts to make the country woke. Their government has officially banned so-called gender-neutral language from all classrooms across the country because officials believe that such language ends up doing irreparable harm to French children. And what's so fascinating here is that the French government is actually drawing from very nationalist-populist frames of reference in their rejection of gender-neutral language, in that they see the attempt to de-genderize language as something very specific to English. Okay, it's very interesting here. In their latest swipe at the woke left in American universities, which we'll get into, the French Education Ministry said that gender-neutral words cement the status of English as the world's dominant language, which means that schools across the country need to spell out the importance of emphasizing a word's gender for their school children. So as I'm sure many of you know, in French grammar, the noun system reflects the gender of the object to which they're referring, and the masculine dominates the feminine in mixed settings. So it's been a while since I've studied French, but as I've read it explained, if you had a group of people with 9 women and 1 man together, they would be referred to by the masculine plural word for friends, which is ami, which is spelled A-M-I-S, rather than the feminine plural, which is spelled A-M-I-E-S. And one of the things that woke French educators have been trying to do is introduce what they're calling inclusive spelling or inclusive writing in the French curriculum. And what this involves is ironing out the language so as to eliminate as much gender exclusivity as possible. And this often involves adding letters associated with feminine endings and pronouns into masculine words, which ironically, it seems to me, would mean that you're feminizing the language, aren't you? If that's the case, you're not making the language gender neutral, you're making it more feminine. But regardless, the government has officially cracked down on this practice. The Académie Française, which is the official public institution that guards the French language, has officially banned school teachers from using gender-neutral inclusive writing in their classrooms across the country. Now, this is not the first time the French government has actually done this. Back in 2017, the previous Hollande administration also banned it for very much the same reason, seeing gender neutrality as a form of basically American imperialism, what many nations today are calling liberal totalitarianism. Gang, I think it is so absolutely essential for those of us who love faith, family, and freedom. It is so essential for us to know and appreciate that much of the world sees the woke left precisely the same way we do. There's a bunch of tyrannical dictators who want to destroy our customs, cultures, and traditions and refashion society around their own cultural Marxist image. France is right there standing with us on that, and they want nothing to do with the woke left in America. And they're rooting out trends in their own nation that they see as quite literally a contaminant from the woke leftism in America. Now, what I want you to do at this point is click this video that we uploaded a few weeks back. It's on how a number of government officials have publicly denounced the woke insanity coming out of American colleges. You're not going to want to miss that video because it's going to give you the whole backdrop to actually what's going on here with this latest move to ban gender-neutral language. We have to appreciate that this gender-neutral ban follows weeks of public statements from French government officials, most especially the French president himself, Emmanuel Macron, publicly denouncing American leftists. French officials are increasingly and openly worried that far-left ideals coming from American woke activists are a threat to their national identity and way of life. And so according to the Daily Mail, the Macron administration is largely blaming the American university and the cultural Marxism that's infested the universities as the reason behind why America's literally like unraveling and splitting apart right before our very eyes. And they're making it clear that the French government needs to do everything it can to make sure that this out-of-control woke leftism stays out of France, or they're going to start socially unraveling as well. And this, interestingly, is all part of the French President Macron's attempt to pivot to the right of late. Macron was elected as a centrist, okay? He's a center leftist, globalist, but he's been very open to the idea of open borders, decentralizing their economy, an effort to bring in more globalization to France. And in a nutshell, his administration has basically been a disaster, okay? In hindsight, at least, well, for most people, it's hindsight. For us on this channel, we predicted that his administration would be a disaster precisely because he was trying to impose globalism and globalist norms. So we're talking relatively open borders. We're talking a radically decentralized economy, the gentrification of their cities, the normalization of cosmopolitan lifestyle values, all that. He was trying to impose globalist norms on a population that wants nothing to do with globalism. And so his administration has been dealing with one blow up after another. The two most significant events being the so-called Yellow Vest Uprising, which ended up protesting in French cities without a single break for over a year, and perhaps even more significantly, the rise of Marine Le Pen and the nationalist-populist right in France. And so Macron has been doing everything he can to pivot to the political and cultural right to try to stave off both the protests and the political rise of Le Pen. So the Macron government has responded to a series of terrorist attacks in France by carrying out raids on Islamic groups. Many of those groups have been disbanded. A number of their members have been rounded up and deported. The Macron government is placing limits on Islamic homeschooling. They've even begun taking control over religious funding of mosques. And Macron's even doubled down on the French burqa ban. And now, of course, he's denouncing the American left and woke universities and now banning gender-neutral language. So in many ways, we're seeing in many respects a complete transformation in Macron. But it all appears to be too little too late. There's increasing evidence that all Macron is doing is further legitimating France's turn to the nationalist-populist right. But first, if you are looking for an encouraging and hopeful alternative to all the despair spewed out by the fake news nonsense from the leftist likes of CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times, you are going to find no better antidote than what's in the pages of my book, The Return of Christendom. Gang, do not take my word for it, although you should. Just read the reviews on Amazon, over 300 of them, and you'll see how this book cuts through all the cynicism and despair that we so often feel living in this crazy globalist world. And so in page after page, I give you all the data and the statistics and indicators that show nothing less than a new conservative Christian majority rising up, not just in the United States, but in Europe as well. And it's already transforming the world map into a more nationalist, populist, and traditionalist world. And if you click on that link below right now, we're offering it for a limited time at a 50% discount. That's right, 50% off, so don't wait. This is a limited time offer. Click on that link below and get your book at a super discount today and arm yourself with the information you need to crush fake news once and for all. All right, so it looks like Macron's pivot to the right is too little too late. Take a look at this survey. A new survey shows that 60% of French police and military intend on voting for nationalist patriot Marine Le Pen in next year's French presidential election. A survey published by the Center for Political Research and Sciences found that a plurality, 44%, would vote for Le Pen in the first round of elections, and then in the runoffs, with the top two candidates advancing from the first round, that number jumps to 60% for Le Pen as over and against Macron. In terms of active duty police officers, the support grows even higher. Nearly 75%, 3 in 4 of active duty police officers will be voting for Le Pen. Now, this survey follows the 2 open letters that were published by a number of retired generals and upwards of 1,000 retired and active military officers that predicted a civil war in France if Macron does not get his act together. The upshot here is that this open letter predicted that if the Macron administration is not overthrown, either by elections or even by a military coup, then France will inevitably descend into a civil war at the hands of militant Islamists. And to add insult to injury, a new poll found that the vast majority of the French population agrees with that assessment. So it really does look like France is fast becoming one of the most anti-woke nations on the planet. Make no mistake, patriot leaders and movements are rising up all over the world, all but guaranteeing that the days of wokeness are indeed coming to an end. Now, before you go, make sure to like this video, like or comment down below, and subscribe to our channel. But you'll definitely want to check out our latest video. And it is on the colossal fall of Ellen DeGeneres, where we get behind the real reasons why she was canceled. And we look at how it's so ironic because one of the great defenders of cancel culture in the end gets eaten by that which she defends. You're going to love it. So make sure to click on the link and I'll see you over there. God bless.